Are you looking to invest in real estate, but you don't really know where to start? You're curious, you're nervous, and you hear so many people talk about the freedom and wealth that it can bring? Well, if that's you, then keep watching, because in this video, we're gonna be talking about the 10 steps that you can take to start your real estate investing journey. Welcome to Real Estate Investing from Novice to Closing. My name is Jay Rios, and in this video, we are going to be summarizing each of those 10 steps. Throughout this multi-part series, we will go into further depth on each of these steps. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe in order to contribute and learn from this series. Before we jump into the good stuff, I do want to preface a couple things. First, my word is not the end-all, be-all. I am only human, as a lot of you very intelligent people already know. Do your due diligence, do your research. These are simply the steps that I've seen other people take and I took myself. Second, these steps are not necessarily in sequential order. Some of these you can do before others, and some of these you can do at the same time as others. Step number 1 is getting 2 years of tax returns. A lot of these first steps will basically be in order to qualify for a loan, including this one. A lender's gonna look at your tax return, they're gonna look at your bank statements, they're gonna look at your W-2s, determine how much you actually make, how much you spent, all sorts of information regarding your financial position in order to determine how much you can actually afford on a purchase. In the tax return video, we'll be talking about what job characteristics help most with a career in real estate investing, and the pros and cons of a W-2 9-to-5 job versus a 1099 contractor job. Step number 2 is minimizing your expenses and opening a savings account. First and foremost, when it comes to minimizing your expenses, you have to be tracking your expenses. This is an incredible habit to start because it will truly change your financial position over time. In this video, I'll provide a couple softwares and tips on how to track your income and expenses, and then what to look for in a savings account. Step number 3 is increasing your credit score. Now, this could be an entire course in and of itself. I'll be providing a few tips on how to increase your credit score and warnings when you do, because as a lot of people know, it tends to go down a little bit before it actually goes up. For those of you who don't have any credit now, I'll provide some advice on how to actually establish credit too. Lastly, I'll give you some advice on what to look for in a credit card itself. Step number 4, analyzing properties. A financial analyzer is one of the most important tools you can have in your arsenal when it comes to real estate investing. This spreadsheet will truly help you to say yes or no, or understand the risks and hopefully mitigate those risks that you are potentially exposing yourself to. We'll cover where to find financial analyzers, where to find the specific numbers to put into said analyzer, and then what the end result numbers actually mean. What kind of metrics are you looking for depending on your financial or life position? If you don't watch any other video, this might be the only one actually to watch, because I'm going to be going into an actual example of a property that I bought and exited and how I base my decisions buying, selling, and managing it. Step number 5 is to determine your investment criteria. At this point, you've analyzed a number of properties and you're able to see what kind of numbers you should expect. When you're able to understand what each of the specific metrics people use to determine whether they buy or not, you are better able to tailor it to your specific circumstances. Someone who is retired and has a ton of savings is not really interested in cash flow necessarily. They simply want to put their money somewhere so that it's not eaten away by inflation. On the other hand, someone who is looking to get out of their current job and live a free life might be looking for cash flow instead of just value appreciation. In this video, I'll be showing you what numbers I look at and what metrics I tend to value more than others to determine yes or no on a deal. Step number 6 is partnering with a real estate agent. Throughout the first 5 steps, you probably started to get a sense of what kind of property you are most interested in investing in. What is most attractive to you? For whatever reason that might be, whether it's a duplex, a 4-family, a townhouse, single-family house, a flip, a hold, whatever strategy and kind of property it is, based on the amount of time and resources that you have available to invest in it. Around the time that you have narrowed down your buy box is about the same time that you can reach out to a real estate agent. You can absolutely do this anytime beforehand to just get advice. In this video, we'll talk about the real advantage of an investment-minded real estate agent and not just a regular first-time homebuyer agent. Nothing wrong with them, but there are certainly differences between both when you're looking to buy an investment property. We'll also talk about how to find the right agent for you, because not everyone is going to be a perfect fit, and then what to expect from them when you actually do have a buyer's agency agreement. Step number 7 is getting pre-approved. An agent, and quite frankly yourself, should be able to determine how much you can afford based on how much you have in savings and your annual income. Because ultimately that's what a lender is primarily going to be looking at. What can you pay for a down payment up front? And then what can you afford on a monthly recurring basis? That being said, this does not take into account your credit score, your debt to income ratio, or any other factors that make you a loanable consumer. It is important to have a pre-approval for some pretty logical reasons. You don't want to be going out and looking at properties that ultimately you won't even be able to afford. It's mostly a waste of time. Secondly, depending on what kind of market it is, you may need to submit your offer with a pre-approval letter. That way, sellers know that you are serious and you've already taken steps toward the process of buying a house. Therefore, your contract is more likely to be accepted. In this video, I'll be talking about what to look for in a lender, the difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved, and then what that process really looks like. Step number 8 is to start scheduling tours. When making a sizable purchase, you always want to get your hands on it and see it with your own eyes, whether that's a car, a phone, jewelry, and especially a property that might just be the biggest purchase of your life. Now again, these are not necessarily in sequential order, but if you have followed them in this order, then by now you have analyzed a bunch of deals, you have contacted a real estate agent and have an agreement with them, and you're also pre-approved. So it's time to actually start touring. In this video, I'll be advising on what to look for when you are walking these buildings. Specifically, capital expenditure items, the big ticket ones like the roof, like the sewer lateral, plumbing, windows, the stuff that really costs money that could really make or break the deal. While the interior cosmetic stuff is also very important to making a good investment, it is not quite as important as, say, maybe the structure of it that could truly just collapse the entire building and leave you with absolutely nothing. Step number 9 is writing an offer. You're walking these properties, you're analyzing them, you're able to say yay or nay on a deal, ideally before you even see it. However, you may be hitting a roadblock here, and that is known as analysis paralysis, where you're thinking so much about the possibility of the deal itself, but you don't actually take action. And I don't blame you, because it is intimidating to write an offer, which is exactly where your agent's advice and expertise will come into play. There are a number of offers and many more terms, along with riders that accompany those offers to make it more competitive or less competitive, more or less attractive to you and to the seller. When you're writing an offer, remember that there's always a winning price for any property that does make sense given your investment criteria. Whether that price is what it's actually listed for is a different issue, but you can always work backwards, starting at the bottom of the analysis and getting to that offer price. In this video, we'll be talking about each of the terms of a contract so that you feel more comfortable when it does come time to actually decide what those terms are. You are equipped with the knowledge of what each of those terms actually imply, good or bad. Step number 10 is actually going through the closing process. Once you actually have it under contract, now you and the seller have the opportunity to decide whether you will truly be moving forward to transferring ownership. In this video, I'll be talking about what to expect throughout the closing process and some of the steps, from title to occupancy to getting fully approved to inspections. And this is over the course of, generally speaking, 30 to 45 days.